If you never tried Ro-Tel on a Blackstone, you are missing out in life. Let's get it. It's that easy. Kitchen recipes. Hello, my wonderful people, and thanks for tuning in. As you already know, there are so many options for tailgating, social gatherings, and sporting events. There's nothing quite like a fresh, hot batch of Ro-Tel dip. Today, we're going to be preparing some Ro-Tel dip on the Blackstone. The Blackstone flat top adds a little more seasoning to that meat and that Ro-Tel that you put on there to give it much more explosive flavor. So let's get right into this treat you're going to enjoy. Okay, for this recipe, let's get started with ground beef chuck, hot Tennessee Pride country sausage, mild Italian sausage, 1 onion, 3 pounds of Velveeta cheese, about 1 cup of extra sharp cheddar cheese, and 3 cans of mild Ro-Tel. Let's go ahead and get that onion chopped up. What I like to do next is preserve some of this juice. Save some of that moisture for the Ro-Tel itself. We're going to put this on the Blackstone, and a lot of this would have evaporated. So I'm going to save some of this, and we're going to pour this back into the cheese dip. Then we want to just go ahead and cut our Velveeta into small little cubes. I like to come across here and just cut it in this direction. Cut it again. You can just cut little small cubes into this. Helps make the cheese melt faster. As always, let's get started oiling up that griddle. Put a nice coat on here. Okay, before we get started, this can be done in an aluminum pan. You can get a deep pan and put your cheese in there, or a half-size deep pan. I'm not going to do this in an aluminum foil pan because I'm going to be transferring my cheese dip to a crock pot because I'm taking it to a party. So you all can do this in a pan and it'll work just as fine, but I'm going to be using a deep wok. And I wanted to use this, so I want to be able to stir this cheese around and mix it around a little bit while I'm preparing this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil in here. I just want to coat this pan so the cheese doesn't stick. It makes it easy to come off. As you can see, this is already getting pretty hot. But I kind of want that cheese melting in the process. This will just help give my pan a little coating so the cheese doesn't stick to the pan. I'm going to add the liquid from the Ro-Tel. I'm just going to pour that in here. And this is going to all melt with this cheese. I just want to go ahead and get my cheese melted and get it started. And by the time I get this meat fried and get all that flavor infused, this cheese will be starting to melt where you want it. I'll be giving this a little stir here and there so that cheese doesn't stick at the bottom. As you can see, it's already starting to melt. And you can see that that's why we preserve that Ro-Tel juice to help liquefy this process, because that would have been poured directly into the whole can of juice and all. But the effect that I'm trying to get is the flavor from the Blackstone. And I want to infuse some of that seasoning from the Blackstone, from the flat top, into that Ro-Tel and those onions. And we're going to have that extra flavor exploding into that Ro-Tel dip. I'm going to go 1 pound of the Italian sausage, a half a pound of ground beef, and a half a pound of the hot Tennessee Pride sausage. I'm going to go ahead and get that down and start cooking. And I'm going to go ahead and apply the onions and the Ro-Tel as well. And I'm doing them kind of separate because I want that flavor infused onto those tomatoes and that dip. You can easily put these vegetables with the meat, but I want it to sear, and I want that flavor to get into those vegetables before we put it with the meat. So I'm gonna spread this out a little bit, let this sit on one side so that Blackstone flavor can set into those tomatoes and those onions. Meanwhile, I'm gonna go ahead and start getting this ready here. I'm gonna mix that all together with sausage. And once again, you want this to lay flat for a couple of minutes because you want that browning effect. And this is the browning effect that we talk about. This right here is the caramelization effect, or what they call the Maillard effect. This is where all the extra seasoning combines into that crust. Once again, keep your eye on your cheese. Make sure it's not sticking. Move it around every few minutes. And that's why I like the wok. It's a really good size to spin it around and turn. And you can see how the oil prevents it from sticking. You're doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Once it sets there for a couple of minutes, give it a little flip, a little turn. If you never cooked on a Blackstone, you get more flavor out of sauteing things on a Blackstone flat top because of the seasoning process that's inside of the griddle top. You like cooking on a cast iron skillet, but you got more room and more space to do some of the same things you do on a cast iron skillet. And the flavor is really unique. You can always tell when you taste something from the Blackstone. It has a unique flavor, especially if your griddle is seasoned up really well. See that browning right there? That changes the flavor and composition of this meat, just letting it get like that. And once you start chopping this up and getting all those flavors mixed in, you're gonna have an excellent tasting Ro-Tel dip. You want those pieces of meat to be fine so they go out through the dip. Some people like chunky meat in the dip. I like being able to spread it out so it gets dispersed through the dip really good. That way you don't have to worry about people eating all the chunks of meat out of the dip. Make some room over here so I can chop this up a little better. Let's check on our cheese. That little rotation here. It's about time now we can go ahead and add our Ro-Tel and onions to the cheese mix. Taste test my meat. That flavor is so good. All right, let's go ahead and add some of our cheese here. Man, look at that. It's looking so good. Oh, that's looking so good. There we go. We're stirring that up. Kind of meat where we want it. You can drain a little bit of that grease off by transferring it to your griddle on the other side, and it'll leave the residue behind. That's an easy way to get some of the oil off the meat. Let's go ahead and add that wonderful meat to this recipe. Let's stir that up. I'm going to add a little sour cream in here, a couple of tablespoons, and a little bit of milk. You can add a little at a time, but this will make it creamy, but it also loosen the cheese up a little bit, and you'll be able to get more of a not so thick texture, but more of a a cheesy soup texture. You're able to disperse the cheese dip pretty well, especially at a party. So that's really good. That's what you want to see right there. I'm going to come in and add some fresh parsley. Then you can come in and add some extra sharp cheddar cheese, and this will boost the flavor. Definitely, extra sharp cheddar cheese is a great flavor booster for any type cheese. Here are some fun facts about Ro-Tel dip. Did you know Ro-Tel originated in Texas? The Ro-Tel brand was started in 1943 by Carl Ro-Tel in Elsa, Texas, who canned locally grown tomatoes and green chilies. He found the name Ro-Tel hard to pronounce, so he simplified the brand to Ro-Tel, named for its star ingredient. The name of the dip comes from the canned tomatoes and chilies that are its primary ingredient. Simple ingredients for a flavorful dish. The classic version combines Ro-Tel tomatoes and green chilies with melted Velveeta processed cheese and ground beef, making a quick and easy Tex-Mex queso. Now you know. Now it's time to taste this greatness. Oh man. Look at that right there. Absolutely superb. So much flavor. Oh, this is such a great cheese dip. Well, I hope you enjoyed that simple, quick, and easy Ro-Tel recipe for the Blackstone. This should be a great option at your next function or your next sporting event or your tailgate or whatever it is that you want to enjoy some good Ro-Tel dip with. I'd like to thank everyone for watching and supporting and subscribing to the channel. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe and notification bells so you can keep up with the latest and greatest videos from It's That Easy Kitchen Recipes. Until next time, see you soon. It's that easy. It's that easy kitchen recipes.